Welcome to the Explainer. Now, if you use AI on a daily basis, you absolutely know the core frustration we're talking about today. It's got the memory of a goldfish, right? Every single time you open a new chat, you have to painstakingly re-explain your whole project, your tech stack, and exactly how you like things done. It is exhausting. But what if your AI actually remembered? What if it built a deepening model of who you are, what you're working on, and how you work best? Well, today we are looking at Hermes Agent from Nooze Research. And let me tell you, this isn't just another amnesic AI wrapper. It's a completely new architecture, a true AI runtime that genuinely grows with you. All right, let's just dive right into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the AI that remembers, take a peek inside the agent loop, look at persistent working knowledge, the messaging gateway, the 6 terminal backends, and finally, wrap up with the Cron Scheduler. Let's get to it.
So, Section 1, the AI that remembers, and how we're finally breaking that amnesia cycle.
You see, the core problem with standard AI is that the second you close the window, poof, your context just vanishes. Hermes was actually engineered from the ground up to fix this by fundamentally changing the architectural paradigm. Look at the difference here. A traditional loop just receives a task, executes it, and resets. That's it. But Hermes? It adds 2 absolutely vital steps: evaluate and persist. After an interaction, the system literally evaluates if it just learned a valuable, complex new workflow. And if it did, it writes it down so it's ready to go for tomorrow. It's a total game changer. Moving on to Section 2. Let's step inside the agent loop itself, the synchronous orchestration engine. You can really think of this orchestration engine as the actual living brain of Hermes. It's a 5-stage closed learning loop. First up is the trigger. Say a message arrives from your terminal or your phone. Second, we have retrieval. Hermes lightning-fast queries its local database to recall relevant past skills. Third is reasoning in action. That's where it actually executes its tools. Now, the 4th step, and this is what makes it completely unique, is evaluation. The agent gets an internal nudge, almost like a little tap on the shoulder, to reflect on what it just did. And finally, persistence. It commits any newly learned skills straight to the disk before ending its turn. Which brings us to Section 3. Persistent working knowledge. These are the files that actually define the agent. Okay, so for that learning loop to actually work, it needs a memory substrate, right? A place to store its working knowledge. Hermes splits this into layers, but the absolute most crucial one is Layer 1 prompt memory. This is your hot working knowledge. It's loaded as a frozen snapshot into the system prompt right at the start of a session. Keeping it frozen is brilliant because it's incredibly fast, it keeps the LLM prefix cache completely stable, and, best of all, it doesn't drown your context window with redundant data. So what's actually in this hot memory? Well, it lives in 2 specific markdown files right on your local machine. The first is memory.md. This stores the hard facts about your environment. We're talking your tech stack, project conventions, and even little workarounds the agent has figured out over time. The second is user.md. This one holds your personal profile, your specific role, and exactly how you like to communicate. Because these files load up automatically, the agent already knows who you are and how your project is structured before you've even typed your first prompt of the day. Honestly, think about the sheer amount of time and frustration that's going to save you. All right, Section 4, the messaging gateway. This is where your agent actually lives. We've looked at the brain, so now let's look at the senses, how you actually talk to it. Hermes runs as a long-running background process through a messaging gateway, and it is super flexible. You can talk to it via the command line, Telegram, Discord, Slack, WhatsApp, or Signal. And because it uses unified session routing, it is completely persistent across all of them. Get this, you could start a massive deployment on your laptop CLI at the office, pack up, and seamlessly answer the agent's follow-up questions from Telegram on your phone while you're commuting home. It is one continuous, unbroken agent session. Section 5, 6 terminal backends. We've seen how to talk to it, now let's see where the agent works. Talking to the agent is really only half the battle, right? We need to look at its hands. These 6 decoupled terminal environments are where it actually executes code. And the flexibility here is just immense. You can run it locally, you can put it in an isolated Docker container with a read-only root for top-tier security, or you can hand execution off to remote production servers via SSH. You can even use Daytona or Modal for serverless operations, which is great because the environment just hibernates when it's idle to save you money, or you can hook it up to Singularity for heavy academic GPU clusters. The absolute crucial takeaway here is decoupling. Hermes beautifully separates where you talk to it from where it actually runs. You could literally be sending a message from bed on Discord while the agent is securely executing that command on a distant Modal serverless worker, or maybe on a secure SSH production server. The interface and the execution environment are entirely independent of each other.
And finally, Section 6, the Cron Scheduler. This is the agent's heartbeat.
If the orchestration engine is the brain, the Cron Scheduler is the heartbeat. This is what allows Hermes to function as a fully autonomous worker. Let me read you this exact quote from the documentation, just to show you how powerful this is. Every Friday at 5 p.m., check disk usage on staging.domain.tld. If any partition is over 80% full, delete temp files older than 7 days, and send me a summary on Telegram. You are literally assigning complex, multi-step system operations using plain English. No messing around with confusing cron tab syntax required.
So, under the hood, the gateway translates your plain English request into a clean, persistent JSON entry. At the scheduled time, it ticks, and it spins up a completely fresh AI agent session just to execute that job. And because this is stored structurally, the schedule actually survives server restarts and power outages. When your machine boots back up, Hermes picks right up exactly where it left off.
This is not just some basic shell trigger, guys. It is a first-class AI task manager. It runs in isolated sessions, so it perfectly protects your active chats. You can even attach specific learned skills to a job, so the agent has a tailored playbook. But my absolute favorite feature? If you just want it monitoring things quietly in the background, you just use a silent tag. It will only actually bother you with a message if something is genuinely broken. So as we wrap up this explainer, the paradigm shift here is pretty clear. Most other platforms out there optimize for breadth. They want to give you quick, stateless answers across a huge surface area. But Hermes optimizes for depth. Through its closed learning loop, its persistent memory files, those flexible backends, and its scheduled autonomy, it provides a true self-learning infrastructure. This is an architecture designed from the ground up around a model that simply stops forgetting.
The question isn't just what AI can do for you today, it's what it will learn to do for you by next week. So, are you ready to deploy an agent to yourself?